So the first thing we learned this year, this semester I should say, was the function operations. So for example, if I say f plus g, that means I'm just going to take the function f, so x squared minus 6, and I'm going to add it to my function g, 3x minus 2, and just add them together. X squared plus 3x minus 8. Guys, I'm very happy. So then this one, number 2, it's g times h. So g times h, we just put them next to each other. 3x minus 2 times my h equation, which is negative 2x plus 10. Remember, you have to actually FOIL here, not just combine like terms. Negative 6x squared plus 30x plus 4x minus 20, which we could simplify to negative 6x squared plus 34x minus 20. Since it's going to be multiple choice, I probably won't factor.
The whole test multiple choice?
Except the graphing. The graphing's not multiple choice.
Also, light sauce.
Yeah, I can actually see the other. Wait, what's the negative?
I'm mad at
squared equal after the equal sign? Where's that?
Are you mad at it?
That's over here, and that's just me combining like terms.
Is that the answer?
This will be the answer in the multiple choice. Yeah.
But I'm not mad at you.
Oh, no.
All right. So f minus h3. Now remember, if there's a number 3 here, that means I'm going to plug in 3 into the f and the h. So f was x squared minus 6. So when I'm going to rewrite this as, since it's x squared, it's going to be 3 squared minus 6 minus my h with a 3 in it, which is negative 2 times 3 plus 10. It should be, yeah.
Summer,
No, I'm okay.
Summer, why do you get like a...
So negative 6 for
Madden?
negative 4. Don't say that. Negative 1.
Madden? You don't like football?
I don't really care for football.
What's your favorite sport to watch?
Yeah.
Yeah, the guy even wants, the guy gave me
That's a stereotype.
It's true though, right? You like baseball?
I don't like baseball that much.
So do you
I like basketball more, I would say.
I could not do Aton's stories. That's impossible.
All right. For this one is f times h of negative 2. So in this case, the best way to do it is just find f with negative 2. So negative 2 squared minus 6 times your h with negative 2. Negative 2 times negative 2 plus 10. You could also distribute it with x's and then plug in the negative 2 after. But I think when you have a number, it's just easier to plug in a number first. So that'd be 4 minus 6 is negative 2. Positive 4 plus 10 is 14. So final answer, negative 28. Once more, you could actually distribute it as if it was x and then plug in the x second, but I think it's easier to plug in the number first. Allie, Summer. This is f of g. Remember, this is a little different. So it's f with g on the inside of the f. So it's f of g. So remember that open circle or that open bullet point is f of g. So that means I'm going to replace f, or I'm going to replace the gf with what gx is, which is 3x minus 2. And that means I'm going to take this 3x minus 2 and plug it into every x in the f of x. So in this case, it's 3x minus 2 squared minus 6. Remember, though, I can't just distribute the squared. I actually have to think about foiling it, which is going to be 9x squared minus 12x plus 4 minus 6. This is me foiling it. I'm just doing it quickly. So 9x squared minus 12x minus 2. If I'm making this a multiple choice question, no doubt I'm putting in a version where you forget to FOIL. You just distribute that.
Wait, we have to?
This has to be FOILed. Some people are typically someone's going to make a mistake and just distribute the 2 power, which is a mistake. Don't do that. This one, there's a number inside, but it's kind of the same concept. But g of f of negative 2. So I'm going to do g of whatever my f equation is of negative 2, which is negative 2 squared minus 6. So negative 2 squared is 4. 4 minus 6 is, again, negative 2. So g of negative 2. They happen to be the same. They're not always going to be the same. Then I'm going to do g of negative 2, which is 3 times negative 2 minus 2, negative 6 minus 2, negative 8. As a reminder, if you have an x as an answer, you're going to have an x in your answer. If you have a number in your function, I should say, you should have a number as your final answer for a function. But again, it's multiple choice, so I guess that actually doesn't matter. Get it on, hurry up. Yeah, as long as it takes. That's what I'm planning.
Wait, I'm asking.
Please get it done. And remember, this is recorded, so you could always go
Oh,
back.
it is?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. All right. One thing I realized there's a mistake here. I probably made a mistake at the time. Just change this one over here to just x is greater than 2, not greater than or equal to 2. Otherwise, there's a technically error going on. Okay. So let's go through this. Yeah, it is. But
When that is that, it is.
so first I look at, so remember a piecewise function, this is what happens, and this is when that thing happens. So what I mean by that is that if I have a negative 4, I will first look at my right side, and I see which one fits negative 4.
X squared.
In this case, it is x is less than or equal to negative 3. Negative 4 is less than negative 3.
Oh,
So because that's less than, I look at what it occurs. In this case, it's just a 14. So if it was negative 4 or negative a billion, it would be just 14. So the answer is just 14.
If x is 3x minus 1.
So the next one, it is f of 0. So when f of 0, that belongs in the middle column because 0 is between negative 3 and 2. So I plug in 0 into the equation. So 3 times 0 minus 1 or just 2. In this one, f of 2, I have to look which one would be at f equals 2.
3x plus.
It is, in this case, the middle column, so. So 3,
That's still not even true. 3 times 0 is 0 minus 1 is negative 2.
it's negative 1. But yeah, you're right. I actually messed up too.
I mean,
But you caught the error, my fault of that. So 3 times 2 minus 1 is 6 minus 1 or 5.
Whoa.
For the last one, f of 4, that is bigger than x is 2, so I'm using the bottom column. So it's just 4 squared, which is 16. All right. Yeah, if I give you a difference quotient question, you'll get the difference quotient with it. All right, we're going to use the difference quotient. Now, my fault on this, or it's my fault in general because we didn't get far enough to actually show you where this is used. This is going to be, would have been shown in like the next chapter, not chapter 7, but the chapter after. But either way, I will give you this. When you see this, you're going to plug in x plus h in every x you see. So the first part here is going to be x plus h squared minus x plus h. That is this part right here. We're going to subtract by this part right here, which is just x squared minus x. That's just the equation here. So that part here is just this equation, x squared minus x. And that's all over the h.
That's it?
No, then we gotta simplify. All right, this is foiled out. So x squared plus 2xh plus h squared.
Wait. Can't you just cross them out?
Which one's the same?
X plus H and X plus H. One squared. One squared, so you can't just like cross
No,
them
you
out.
cannot square it. You can't cross them out like that. 3 squared minus 3 is not 3. That's 6. X squared. I'm going to distribute a negative. Minus x minus h. I'm going to distribute a negative. Minus x squared. Distribute a negative there. That's a plus x. To help with the color coding. This was the purple stuff. And this was the red stuff.
Wow, this is what I'm gonna do today.
All over h. Sorry about that. I might have got smushed. Sure. This part right here is me foiling this.
No, but like from the beginning. I understand the foiling, but why do you put that in x plus h?
Oh, x plus h is the thing I'm plugging in. So the first thing I plug it in is to the first x I see. So that's going to be x plus h squared. Minus, I got to plug x plus h in the next x I see, which is just x plus h. So then, I'm good with this. I go over here. Now minus, that's that minus here. F of x. F of x, I know what f of x is. It's x squared minus x. So I wrote x squared minus x. Or another way you can think of it, I plug in an x into x squared, which is just x squared. I plug in an x to just x, which is just x. And it's still all over h. Now I did this, all this work, like I just foiled it out. Which, if I gave you it like this, anyone could have done it. It's just setting it up is weird. Now, if we look, we have a negative x squared and an x squared. I can cross those out. I have a negative x and a plus x. I could cross those out. Is there anything else I could cross out? Not right now. So what I'm left with after crossing out things, 2xh plus h squared minus h. All over h. Now, since they all have h, I can reduce everything by h. Remember, this crosses out, it's just a 1. So it's going to be 2x minus 1 plus h. This will be your final answer. When you learn derivatives next year, you'll see this, and you'll be able to do it within 10 seconds.
Why are you writing that? What is your 2x plus
H minus 1.
Yeah.
H, the reason I write that is because I know derivatives. When you do derivatives next year, that h will disappear. So that's why I put it in the back. So it's my
What's the very last answer?
2x minus 1 plus h. 2x minus 1 plus h. Next one. Inverse. For inverse, you change the f of x into a y. So 3x minus 2 over 10. You swap the x's and y's. So every y becomes an x, every x becomes a y.
Oh, that's so funny. That's horrible.
When there's one variable, it's pretty easy. And then you solve for y, aka get y by itself. So I would times 10 on both sides. Then I'm going to plus 2, then divided by 3. 10x plus 2, all divided by 3 equals y. Yeah. This is the inverse, which you put x and y and swap them and rewrite them. This one, you swap them. So I should say, start off with putting a y. 3 square root of x. Swap the x and y. So x equals 3 square root y. Solve for both sides. So divide by 3. So x divided by 3 equals the square root of y. And then square both sides. X over 3 squared equals y. If it was a multiple choice question, I'll probably look like this. X squared over 9.
Like if I would figure that really.
Now, as a reminder, this one didn't have it. But if you have a no inverse situation, that occurs when something like this happens. Let's say y equals x squared, where I'm going to swap these. So this is a no inverse example. So y equals x squared, swap them. X equals y squared. You square root both sides. But because I square root both sides, what happens when I square root something on both sides? I get the plus minus, the square root of x. And that's an issue. I can't have plus minus.
Why can't you? Oh, you can't have plus minus.
You cannot have plus minus for an inverse. So because this plus minus occurs, this is a no inverse. That's the only way it causes a. That's the only way we would handle a situation that would cause no inverse. There's other reasons why no inverse could occur. That's the only way that will show up in this type of question. If I gave you a graph, just remember, if you want a function, is a vertical line test. But if I give you a graph that has a horizontal line test, it fails a horizontal line test, that's no inverse. Okay?
Can something be inverse but not a function?
No, it has to be a function first before we even talk about its
So
inverse.
it automatically has to. So if it doesn't have the if you can't do the vertical line, then it's automatically not.
Yes. Yes. All right, Ali, to answer the question for our class, yes. But technically, you could have it, but for our class, yes. All right, find the domain of the following functions. So domain, it's what's restricted when you plug in. In this case, I could plug in x, I could plug in any number, negative, positive, infinity, negative infinity. So in this case, it's all real numbers, but we got to do it in the proper way, or your multiple choice will be in the proper way. So negative infinity to infinity. Soft brackets. Remember, there's soft brackets. One of my fake options are definitely going to be hard brackets. That's you got to be careful, okay? But they got to be soft brackets, okay? All right, this one over here.
Less than negative 9.
Less than negative 9 is what? No, like what do you mean by that? Is that stuff I could put in or can I?
It can't be less than. It can't be like. Let's say. It can't be like. It can't be greater than 9 because it can't. Because then it'd be negative in there. So it'd be like hard bracket 9.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good. So you got it. Let me explain how to get it for the video. Okay. So in this case, in a square root, I can't have negatives in a square root. So what I'm going to do is just set it up like this. 9 minus x. Since I can't have negatives, it needs to be greater than or equal to 0.
Wait, is this for the first one or second one?
This is the second one, 15. So I'm going to plus x on both sides. So 9 is greater than or equal to x. So I need numbers that are 9 or smaller in this case, because x is smaller, or 9 is bigger than x, which is the same thing as saying x is smaller than 9. So the biggest number I can have is 9 or anything smaller. So for this one, it'll be negative infinity through 9. 9 is going to have a hard bracket because I could actually be at 9. If this was a multiple choice question, I definitely would have something like this. Then I would have negative infinity to infinity. Then I would have the opposite thing where it's negative 9 to infinity. That's just, I like it. Dude.
How many questions?
What's hard bracket?
I'll answer that question when I finish drafting it, but I can't answer that right now.
Hard bracket or soft bracket?
Hard bracket includes. You have a hard, like I say, you have a hard grip on it. If there's a soft bracket, you have a soft grip, it drops. You don't include it.
What if we did a project?
Don't you joke around like that. Don't even get my blood raised, okay?
Yeah, like a little poster.
No posters, no presentations, no show and tell, no.
You do that with your freshman.
We told I'll make a diorama.
You do that with your freshman. You're doing a survey.
Yeah, I did do a survey. Did they ask you?
I saw them
Like
ask.
a sparkly
We should do it.
poster board.
I'm jealous. We should do it.
No, it's not for you guys. I'm not going to say because it's recorded, but it's not for you guys. That's all I'm going to say. All right. For this one, since we're dealing with a fraction, the bottom cannot be 0. In a fraction, the bottom cannot be 0. So in other words, I'm going to solve it as x squared plus 3x minus 4 does not equal 0. Now, does not equal 0, you do all the same math as equal 0. Just keep in mind, these are basically not your answers. So here I'm going to factor.
So plus 4 minus 1.
Good. X plus 4x minus 1. Does not equal 0. Then you split it.
Mr. Double, what's in the parentheses, the second parentheses?
It's just x minus 1. And then, so you got x plus 4 does not equal 0, and x minus 1 does not equal 0. The math is all the same. X does not equal 1, or cannot equal 1, and x cannot equal negative 4. So when you draw, where your answer is going to be 4, 4, 4, all 4s. Now, your answer should be negative infinity to negative 4. Soft bracket and negative 4 because I can't include it. Negative 4 to 1. I'm definitely going to add a fake option that forgets the middle part. Then 1 to infinity. Well, I'm telling you, so it's not that psychotic. If I kept it on the download, it would be psychotic. It'd be a little dimension.
When would you put the? I don't know. I don't know what the symbol is.
Hard brackets? Absolute value.
What does that look like? R
Brackets?
The R bracket.
The curly brackets?
Yeah.
Like this thing? Like that?
Yeah, then a number in the middle.
So that is like, that's particularly used for, let's say if I said 3 to, let's say 5. This is saying exactly 3 and exactly 5. Versus this is saying 3 to 5.
But isn't that the same as just doing hard brackets? Isn't that the same as doing hard brackets though?
No. This is like 3 and 5. No 3.5, no 4, no nothing. Yeah.
We'd be done in here.
So no curly brackets here. Like, but I don't think I ever have an option where that shows up.
Are we done? Are we done?
Oh, that showed up in the homework though, but don't worry about that. What's up? No, we just look. How much time we got? Let's see. No, let's finish at least this test, right? All right. This one, this is graphing. Graphing transformations. The generic version of it is a f of x minus h plus k. Now, when I say f of, that's like whatever I'm doing. So in this case, it will be square, while this case is square root, while this case is the e. Okay? With that in mind, they're basically all the same thing. So 2 in front, that's your a value. That's a vertical stretch.
Is the AFHX thing, do we need that? Is that to do with this or the last one?
This has to do with all this. But this AHK is the same in all of them.
So right 1 and up.
Good. Right 1, up 3. Remember, this is flipped, so don't be surprised if one of my options is going to be vertical stretch 2, left 1, up 3. And then this one, it's just so funny. Like,
Yeah, it's fun.
yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
Ah, my student failed my final.
Ah,
Ha.
they did
I look
terrible.
like some
I hate-
teacher now. Ha. Forget the joke.
Yeah, it is fun. You're right.
they got what they deserve.
What if we did multiple choice, but there was only one choice for each question?
That's not multiple.
Let's do 2.
So this one's upside down.
What do you think?
Or I usually say vertical flip, but upside down.
Negative flip.
Not negative flip, I usually vertical flip, I should say.
Wait, can we say?
But it's upside down.
What about like my old teacher would say reflect over x-axis?
That is a vertical flip.
Is that upside down?
Yeah. You'd be flipping over, right? The x-axis. Remember the x-axis is sideways?
So
So,
I wrote that on the last test and you took points off it.
because it's not necessarily true you flip over the x-axis. It would be true if you do it like this. It's not always over the x-axis.
So you just write upside down.
Or vertical flip will be the option. Let me write what it would say, which is vertical flip on that.
Which sign shows you that? The negative sign?
The negative in front of the function.
But if it was in the parentheses, it would be.
If it was a negative that's being multiplied to everything, it would be a flip over the x-axis.
So it's not upside down. It's vertical.
No, yeah. If it's in the parentheses.
Yes.
If it's inside the parentheses, then it's over the x-axis. Then it's upside down, and if it's in. No.
Don't ever worry. We don't do a flip over the x-axis. But there is a difference to it. Again, you have multiple choice, so you can't make that mistake, okay? I'm not going to put that fake one on, okay? All right, this one, this is still a vertical flip because it's negative, the A value. 2/3 means because that's less than 1, that's a vertical squeeze. Or shrink by 2/3. And then this X value, or this is happening to the X, so you know that's an H value. So because it's happening directly to the X, that's a H value, so that's going to the left 5. Because it's negative. H is -5 in that case. That's happening to the H. Or that is the H. Vertical squeeze or shrink. I forgot what I always say. It does not go up and down in this case. There's no plus normal number. Okay. All right, next one. Sure. So for this one, you're gonna make the parent functions based off this. This doesn't list all the parent functions are possible. Look at the old video for that. So this is gonna be y equals x squared. The transferred function, it looks like it went right 4 or right 3. I don't know how much it went. Right 3, down 1. So I'm going to do y equals, it went right 3, so -3 squared, and then down 1, so -1. Over here, the parent function is it's a square root x, good. Well, the parent function is square root x. So the transfer function, it's flipped over, and it moved to the left twice. So I got to do +2. All right, that was test 1.